Screw your motivation. Get up and get going, because the more you do that, the more you're gonna build on that habit. If you've hit rock bottom, you've had enough. You want to change more than you want to stay the same. Because I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm grateful for where I am. And it's what I dreamed of once. You know, I never thought I'd be nowhere near where I am now.
Yeah. You built this. You built this by your bare hands, working your ass off to get to it. What does that feel like?
So I got kicked out. I didn't know where to go. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. And there was no motivation to change. I was just like, this is my life. This is what it's gonna be like. Here's another day, get up, do the same old shit, feel like crap.
When you're rock bottom, you have nothing, but you also have nothing to lose.
So that's where I was. I hit rock bottom. I'm like, I'm going all out. I'm gonna change, and and even if that's a step back towards, taking a step back for me to figure out what I want to do, that's more in line with, getting out of this and focusing on something I want to do. My main goal in life is to inspire. And I said that to you guys, and I wake up and I go to bed every night, and one of the things I pray for is just to inspire.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Tool for Rise podcast, aka the #1 podcast in the world.
Honestly, just scratch that. The voice of Winnipeg. My name is Robin.
I'm Arshdeep.
And today we have Shane Baskin here to talk about how to train right, eat right, and live life.
Let's get it.
Having me.
Yeah, of course. I want to start off right away. Just get right deep. I want to read you a quote that you posted 4 days ago. It said, "A transformation is much more than a physical process you see on a person. The person has overcome obstacle challenges that they may have once believed that was not possible to do. The physical process is just a side effect of the mental and emotional growth from showing up and sticking to the process." Take me through that. What made you want to post that, and what really is behind this journey of fitness for you?
So I think for a lot of people, including myself, as we get older, we build habits, and we learn so much through TV and what our parents taught us, things like that, that we believe everything, even if it may not be true. And getting through that is probably the hardest part. And when I say overcoming challenges, I mean overcoming those habits you built, overcoming any adversity and obstacles that life hits you with. And it's just, everybody has their hards. We all have our different hards, and we have to push through those hards and overcome them. And it's so easy for everybody to play victim.
Yeah.
I've done it. I'm sure you guys have done it. And it's poor me. I'm going through this. We all have our hards. And in the background of all those transformations you see, there's always so much more to it. Maybe you had to sacrifice hanging around crappy friends that were no good for you, that were holding you back, distracting you. Maybe it's, eating habits, and you couldn't overcome eating habits, but you did that. Maybe it could be whatever, right? But ultimately, there's so much more than physical appearance in a transformation. It's more mental, more emotional than anything else, I believe.
That was like, because we saw it being posted. Like, it was posted a couple of days ago, and we both read that, and we were like, "Damn, there's a deeper message here, right?" Like, of course, you're in the world of fitness, right? Yeah. So take us back to your transformation. What was your transformation like? Where did you start and where you are now?
where did I begin? Where do you guys want me to begin? Because there's a heck of a lot to it.
Where do you think your story starts? When you open the page to your book, where does it start?
From the very beginning, man. It's tough, and sometimes I get emotional about it too. But my first memory, and I think when I got older, I understood a little bit more about my life. But my very first memory is my dad and mom arguing. I was probably 4. Quinn was 3. He probably doesn't remember much, but them arguing, getting in fights, and then it flashes forward to me sitting in our old beat-up van. This was at a trailer we were living in. Beat-up van, watching my dad get taken away. There was like 4 cop cars. All I remember is flashing lights, them always arguing, and then him getting taken away. That was my very last memory. So I think that played a lot into a lot of my life. But transformation ultimately started, I was a troublemaker, teen, hanging around the wrong people, doing the wrong things. When I was about 15, it was pretty disrespectful to my mom. She did everything for us. 3 jobs, I remember days me and Quinn would come home, electricity is out again.
Yeah.
You know, and no TV. We'd have this old TV. I'm sure you guys remember with the VHS you put into it.
Yeah.
We'd be watching movies all night. You know, because it's all we could do. Anyways, so she did a lot for us. I was pretty disrespectful as a teenager. I was hanging with the wrong people. Thought I was this tough guy, and she ended up kicking me out. And she's like, "You can go on the streets, or you can go live with your dad in Alberta." So I was like, "I'm gonna go live with my dad in Alberta." About 6 months into that, my dad was there, but he was never really present. He was an alcoholic, and I love my dad now. You know, I forgave him for a lot of stuff, and he was never really he was there, but he was never really present. And I dealt with his wife at the time a lot. I would always, you know, come home, talk with her. He was there. He'd always try his best, but she ended up kicking me out. And he was just like, "Sorry, man, you gotta go." So I got kicked out. I had nowhere to go. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. And I remember just grabbing my bag. It was wintertime too. First place I went was McDonald's. I slept my first night. I was still in high school. I had a job at Superstore. I was working in the deli. And went and slept in McDonald's. First night, I tried sleeping there the second night. I went, you know, hung out with some friends. Went there later on in the evening, and they're like, "Dude, you can't sleep here, man." I was like, "Crap." Started walking, found this place. It was kind of warm. Slept there, slept outside. So I had no home for maybe about a week. I was still going to school, and then my buddy was like, "Hey, dude, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So he said, "Come stay with me a couple nights." Bounced around friends' places, and thankfully, and then yeah, one guy I didn't really. He wasn't really a close friend with me, but he said, "Dude, I talked to my parents. Come stay with us." I stayed with them probably for almost a year, and that family, those parents, like forever, the Bingham family. I'll always be grateful for them. They tried their best. They helped me out. They helped me out with school, but ultimately, my mom, I dropped out of school shortly after that. Once I left there, my mom said, "You know, come back, live with me for a bit." So I moved with her down to Edmonton. When we were in Edmonton, I'm going deep with this. I just ramble on because I'm thinking of every piece after it. But
this is your open space to talk, bro.
Good. Okay, I like it. But so when I moved back with my mom in Edmonton, I had no clue what I wanted to do. But I got away from all the friends that I had, right, that were doing me no good. A lot of, truthfully, it was a lot of drug scene. It was a lot of selling drug scene. It was a lot of, you know, gang and shit with other crews and stuff like that. A lot of just troublemaking. And I took my opportunity to go with my mom to Edmonton, lived with her for a year. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, had no idea what I was wanting to do. Then one summer, I think this is where it all began. One summer, I was supposed to go see my brother graduate. And we went down to Winnipeg for a week. I ended up staying all summer. But I watched my brother graduate, and in that moment, I just remember thinking, what the heck am I doing? I was like, I need to pick it up. Like, I was so proud of him.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, I felt so alone too. In those moments, dude, you got to understand, in those moments, and this is what helped me too. Like, I've been alone.
Yeah.
I've already felt like losing people that don't benefit our lives is like, for me, it's just, I've been alone. I know what it feels to have nobody. You know, it felt like at the time, I know my mom did it for every right reason, but it felt like at the time, nobody wanted me around, right? When you get kicked out by both parents.
Yeah.
But, so I see him graduate, stayed all summer. Quinn introduced me to working out. And we went to the YMCA, had a bunch of friends. We'd go down there, and I was like, I feel good. It's like, you can accomplish nothing in life, but you can go walk into the gym, and you can walk out knowing you did something in that day for yourself, and you feel good doing it. So stayed summer, went back to Edmonton after that, stayed with my mom for another year, and within that year, I decided, okay, I need to graduate, you know, and it was almost a year after Quinn graduated, which was 2 years before I should have graduated. So I graduated that year, got my high school diploma, and started working out every single day. Started changing, stopped smoking, and whatever else, stopped hanging around people that weren't doing me any good, and started eating right. I was like, I need to change, and I need to go all out. And I think for a lot of people, you're okay with where you're at. You're comfortable. You don't need to change. And whether it's business, whether it's, your health, whatever it is, if you're okay and you grew up okay with where you're at, I feel like it's harder for a lot of people who haven't hit rock bottom. If you've hit rock bottom, you've had enough. You want to change more than you want to stay the same. Period. Right? So that's where I was. I hit rock bottom. I'm like, I'm going all out. I'm going to change. And I did that. Got my high school diploma, was working out every single day, doing cardio as well on the weekends. Started changing my diet. And then I moved back with Quinn about a year later after moving with my mom back to Quinn in Winnipeg. And kept doing the same thing. And while we were out here, I was roofing. I was roofing in those 12 to 15-hour days. And what did I do? I'd bus to go roofing. And then I'd bus back home, eat a quick meal, bus to the gym, wouldn't get home till whatever time. I remember I'd be happy some days to get 3 hours of sleep. Not even kidding. And I looked around one day, and this was probably three and a half years into roofing. And I looked around one day and I'm like, I do not want to be 45. And, all respect to people who are doing it because, you got to do what you got to do. But I looked around and I was like, everybody's hurting, everyone's pissed off. I was like, I do not want to be working here all my life, pissed off and hurting, and my body just feeling like crap every day. So it was funny. I was like, okay, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to move spots. Next day, I got a call from a friend of mine. Hey, we're looking for people selling cell phones, basically. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, not a chance. And then I thought, yesterday I was just saying I want to get out of this. And even if that's a step back towards, taking a step back for me to figure out what I want to do, that's more in line with, getting out of this and focusing on something I want to do. Out of that, somebody offered me a job to basically certified and work personal training and stuff like that. The person I was working for was, he was too busy apparently to always meet up, help out, whatever. So I ended up doing my own thing. I started doing my own thing. And I started working on it while I was at my other job all the time. And they were giving me warnings, stop doing that, stop doing that. It's like, I got clients to work with, This is what I actually enjoy doing. And then one day I got fired from my first job, and that was that job. I got fired, and I had no idea what I didn't have enough clients to live. I was embarrassed. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to tell people I don't have enough money. Now I can care less, But I barely had anything to get by. So at the time I was like doing snow removal. I was going to go shovel snow, and I did get by. And over time, started picking up, and I was like, okay, scrap the snow removal. Then, that's where it kind of picked up. Wow. It's a lot. I've rambled on there, but I was just thinking piece by piece. There's so much more to it. But
let's break down some of the pieces.
Yeah, let's do
right?
it.
Yeah. So, right off the bat, I think that's what makes you who you are today, right? Absolutely. All those hardships, as much as you want to be the rebellious, as much as you want to be angry at your mom, I've been there too, right? Just days when I'm like, why me?
Yeah.
All these kids get to do all these cool things. Mom, let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do that. And that's what shapes you who you are now. You don't realize at that moment.
100%.
But you look back and you're like, damn, I was an idiot.
Absolutely.
Why on earth would I do that? But I say that all to say is that's what shapes you today.
100%.
Right? And so all the actions and all the things that you're taking right now shape your future, shape how your interactions, your even probably to say with your own kids, with your own in your life, at least for me,
Absolutely.
The way that I grew up, I probably don't want my kid growing up the same way. Yeah. And so I'm going to change the way to make sure my kid has the best life of the world. But on the other side, I also want
100%. You know what? And with my mom too, I'll say this, I've always absolutely loved my mom. And even when she kicked me out, I knew deep down, I was like, it's for the better. And it's I'm disrespecting her. Yeah. She's like, I wasn't listening to her. I was just being rebellious. And one thing appreciate so much about my mom, and I think it's helped both Quinn and I so much. She's never, as bad as I was, as nothing I was doing with my life in the moments, and skipping school and hanging with the wrong people, she never ever once said, that I should do a specific thing. She always said, do what you love, do what you want to do. Do you know what you're going to do? I said, no idea. She's like, just wait for it. So I think about that all the time. And I think if she would be so focused on me going to school, I would hate my life.
Yeah.
Of course.
If it's something I didn't want to do, if I wanted to go to school, I never wanted to go to college or university, and I just never had and don't get me wrong, that changed in the future. But at the time, I never wanted to, and I never really cared about that kind of stuff. And she never pressured me. That's the big thing. She never made me feel pressured.
Yeah. And that's important.
Super. I think so.
It's a part of your journey, right? You're living your own life, and like, I think the way she's coming from or looking from an outside perspective is that she let you make your own mistakes. Right?
Absolutely.
And the biggest learning lessons in life is once you make your mistake, you're obviously gonna go back to the drawing board and be like, why did I make that mistake?
Exactly.
Right? And so even like growing up, like I made mistakes. I hung around with the wrong people, right? You're trying to fit in as a kid. You want to be the cool guy. You want to be the jock of the high school and get all the girls and everything. But where did that mentality change? Where did you start realizing that, like, you know what, maybe the people I'm around with aren't the best, and I don't care that I don't fit in. I want to do my own thing. I want to go change my life, and I want to start working out and do it for the better.
There's a few parts. So I think the first time was when my mom moved to Edmonton. She gave me the opportunity to move back with her. I think that gave me kind of a realization, because I was alone that whole time. I didn't really have any friends. Once in a while, I had a few friends out there, but I think that time kind of helped me realize and learn more about myself. When I did move back to Winnipeg, I started hanging around with some wrong people again for a little bit, and I kind of realized, and I opened my eyes and I said, no, not happening. But I think the big factors and the points were really changed me were when Quinn graduated. That opened my eyes big time. And then when I allowed that time to myself and got away, it's because I wasn't running from something. It's not like I moved with my mom because I'm running from problems, because I don't think that's the way to do it. It's because I really had nothing else to do, or nothing going for me anywhere else. So I just went to Edmonton and allowed that time for myself to learn about myself and do things that I wouldn't normally do around the people that were, looking back now, holding me back.
The graduation thing, it seems like that was like a pivotal moment.
Yeah, big time.
Right? And it's the feeling of like, it should be the happiest day, right?
Yeah.
For Quinn, but for some reason that hit you. What were the feelings going through, and like, why was that day so important? Like, the people around, what you were seeing, what was it?
I think everything, and especially as an older brother, and it's so exciting having a younger brother growing up, and Quinn's a funny guy too, right? So I think the biggest feelings were embarrassment. My little brother graduating and seeing all my family show him so much love. And I feel, and this isn't how it was growing up, but I think growing up I felt that way when it wasn't that way. But I felt that he got a lot of love, and I was doing all this stupid stuff, so nobody loved me, right? And it's not how it was. It's just,
That's how it felt.
To myself.
Yeah.
I don't think I was loving myself enough, which was the big factor. And but during that time, it was ultimately a feeling of embarrassment and having all my family see Quinn and love just the whole thing.
You said that you've always been alone, and that's like, even though you had people surrounding you, you felt alone.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do, especially in this world, when you whether you're trying to graduate high school or trying to run your own business, you always need someone that's like, yo, you can do it.
Absolutely.
But there was no one for you.
No one.
How did that affect your mental health? Like, as much as it is a physical thing, man, you were brought up hard, and that made you the person you are today. But what did that feel like having no one? And
Dark.
Yeah.
Dark. It felt dark, man. And it's like, there's no easy way of saying it, but there's beauty in the struggle. And those moments, and like I said before, my mom kicked me out.
Yeah.
For good reasons. my dad's wife kicked me out, and what I felt there, like I said, he was an alcoholic at the time. I love my dad now, and he was an alcoholic at the time, and he just didn't seem to care. He's like, sorry, man, you gotta go. And I was like, damn. I was like, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
I was like, no one cares. I was like, who cares what I do then? So that's, I think, a big time where I started, doing drugs and hanging out with the wrong people in a different city. And it was, the feeling of that was just, it was shitty, man. It was dark. You want to do bad things, and you think nobody cares. You think nobody loves you. And the truth is, like, you got to do things, obviously, to love yourself, and you got to seek doing the right things and meeting the right people. And sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes you feel like the world's against you, and you just got to overcome it. You just got to keep going.
Especially as a teenager, how did you start that self-love journey,
I don't know if I did.
No.
And as a teenager, I don't know if I did. I feel like a lot of the actions I took to as a teenager were kind of built up from events that happened as a kid.
Yeah.
And not that I even realized it at the time, but just looking back now and kind of knowing and understanding more and being a little bit more knowledgeable, that a lot of things I did were probably the difficulties and some of the events that happened as a kid. But I don't think there was any time during a teenager I loved myself. Especially when I was younger in school, I got bullied, and that's what made me want to fight. And then when I started fighting, you get suspended, and then a lot of people look at you like, oh, what are you doing? But in my way, that was the only thing I could do. The only thing I could do was fight. I didn't, I had nothing in me to go make fun of somebody or be rude to somebody, right? So I fought people, and as a kid, and it's just like, you're the bad guy no matter what. And I get it. Violence isn't great. It's no way of, unless you're in a cage or a ring, then, but.
Unless you're Israel, Saudi. Unless you're Israel, then
exactly.
Great,
then,
right?
then it's okay. Then it's okay. He's fighting soon too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned the word rock bottom, and it's great that you're able to tell the story now, but was there ever a moment where you thought that I wouldn't get out of the rock bottom?
Oh, yeah.
And what was that moment, and what did you tell yourself?
I think that was the moment where I got kicked out the second time.
Yeah.
And I had nowhere to go. And I was, like I said before, I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I was going to school with the same clothes on. And that's when people realized. I think at that point, too, I just didn't show up for the job I had at the time. And that's the darkest moment. That was my rock bottom, I think. And it kind of continued on for a little bit. And I just felt down all the time. And when I woke up, I was like, here's another day, Here's another day, get up, do the same old shit, feel like crap, go meet some people in school that are probably going to talk some shit to me and make fun of me,
Yeah, of course.
And that was probably my true rock bottom. And I didn't really kind of put pressure into making a change till probably a year or 2 years later.
So you hit rock bottom, and Quinn came on the show, right? And he says, when you grow up from nothing, you know what you want in life, but you also don't know what you don't want.
Yeah.
And so you hit rock bottom. Where do you go from there? Like, how do you start building into the empire that you have now?
I won't call it an empire yet, but working on it. That's a good question, because you don't know at the time.
Yeah.
You just gotta, like I said, there was that point. You hit rock bottom. I stayed there for a while. And there was no motivation to change. I was just like, this is my life. This is what it's going to be like. And I think you need to see things maybe that you don't even want to see. And like for me, it was like my brother graduating before me. That's what, like, obviously it's great. But before me, and like seeing him do such good things, and me just, at the time, I was like, this loser, right? Doing nothing. So I think I needed that, and to realize, like, we all got to realize we can do these things. There's these challenges, there's these hards, and we're not victims. We just, it's just adversity, and you got to push through it to get through it. And I think I had to come to that understanding that, okay, it's time to make a change. It's kind of time to step up to the plate and do it. And I guess that's probably around the time that it kind of hit where I needed to turn it around.
Would you say that was a part of your like big brother mentality? Like, you know, as a big brother, you have a younger brother who looks up to you, and like you want to be a, kind of like a role model, kind of like a father figure to your little brother, right? And so when you see him graduate before you, you're like, shit, that could have been me. Like, you know, I should have done that first before him. So he had someone to guide him through that high school journey.
That's definitely probably, looking at it now, at the time, it was just like, and I've always been there. Quinn got in trouble, I'd be there, be like, no, you got no problem with him.
Yeah.
You know, I'd always
I'll
be there.
handle it, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're the older brother, and that's how it always was, and it always will be. I'll always have his back, no matter what. And at the time, looking back, maybe, yeah, you know, like, and that goes along with the feeling of being embarrassed and a little bit of ashamed. And yeah, I kind of want to like our dad wasn't really around, you know, and so it was like I was that for him. But yeah, that definitely probably played a role into it.
That's a lot of responsibility. I mean, it reminds me of, I don't know where I heard this, but it's like when you're rock bottom, you have nothing, but you also have nothing to lose.
I was just thinking that, you know what, last week I was probably just thinking that about back then, and that's it.
It's like, I'm here, okay, I got nothing. I got no job, I got no life, I got no career plan, nothing. But I also have nothing really to lose. So I could take that risk, or I could try that thing, and if it doesn't work out, okay, I'm still right here.
Absolutely.
Like, where am I gonna go? So, like, that's, like, everyone has their own different versions of rock bottom. Obviously, hearing your story now, it's like, it's hard. It's hard. And so I just, coming back to like, most people will stop at the rock bottom though. And the fact that you're able to push,
most people will, yeah.
And the fact that you're able to push through shows testament to who you are and shows testament to what you're about to take on of the world. But also like, it shows hope as well, right? Yeah. The transformation's possible.
Yeah.
You did it, right? Not only like physically, but also
that comes with it.
Yeah.
That comes with it. But like I said in that quote, that's just a side effect, man. You know, the growth mentally and emotionally is so much more, because everything you do, I think everything you do in the gym too, like, and even eating right, all that can translate into the things you do in life. And that's what it did for me.
What about the transformation in the gym now? So you got in the gym, you were working the roofing thing, so that's taxing on your body, of course, and now you're taking the bus and you're going straight to the gym. What was the gym life like? Starting off and
after that year, I came back here in Winnipeg and started working out with Quinn, and I went back home and I think I had a set of dumbbells and a barbell, and I was like doing circuits at home, just working with what I had. And then I was like, okay, time to step it up. I went to the gym nearby, started working out there, and met some great people there. And I was like, these are the people that I want to surround myself with.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about going to the gym. You know, you meet people who are kind of on the same mission as you. Maybe not the same goals, but they, you know, understand what it takes to achieve goals. And I was like, these are the people. I need to stay here. So I was fat, and then I ended up getting into bad habits, started smoking, whatever, as a teenager, and then you know, now I feel good. Now I don't, and I think it takes even just doing something for yourself to, you know, as easy as it can be, just to feel accomplished. You know, and then let it snowball.
Do you feel like the gym was kind of like a safe space for you? Like, you know, when I'm going through stuff, I'll go on a run, you know, and it just clears my head. It lets me think and like honestly use my emotions and turn it into like kind of like pre-workout, you know? Like, you know, the best pre-workout is like your emotions, your stuff that you're going through, and like you just power that and let you feel that for the gym. But honestly, it's like, did you feel like the gym was also like a mirror for you in terms of reflection and like, yo, this is my self-growth. I can walk out of here or walk in here and just do two things, but I know I've accomplished more than I did yesterday.
1,000%. Right? And that's, you know, and then I started, you know, running too. And running, I hate it, but I love it. Because like, you know.
It's a love it. I get you, man. I know.
And it's just like the gym. And people think I have such an easy time going to the gym. And no, I don't. There's a lot of days I don't want to show up. People are like, it's your life, you know, it's easy for you. No, it's not. And there was a time where I never thought I'd even be able to do a thing in the gym. You know, it's not easy for me. A lot of times it's hard for me to get to the gym, but I know I need to, because I never want to go back to that person I was before. you have to stay disciplined and stress the small details. Or else, you slowly kind of creep in those old habits and feelings.
Right.
But if you stay disciplined, you stay on top of your game, you show up even when you don't want to, and just do something towards whatever your goal is, whether it's the gym, whether it's, eating right, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whatever. It'll make a difference, and you just got to keep that discipline going.
But it sucks.
It does, man. It does suck. Sometimes.
The first time we met you, we had heard about you before, but the first time we met was at the marathon when we were picking up our little bibs, and then we ended up, or I completed the marathon, his half marathon, and like
Good job, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And people ask like, "Oh, you enjoy running?" I'm like, "No. Why would I enjoy running?" The first 5 minutes were fun, and the last 5 minutes were great.
Yeah.
The 5 hours in between, horrible. I would never do it again.
And what's going through your head?
Like, the first somewhat miles, okay, I just gotta get going, right? Because he was running with me too.
Yeah.
So he was like the brother because he was in front of me.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I gotta catch up to him.
Yeah.
And then, it got dark. It got dark. I'm not gonna lie. It did get. There was a moment where, because in the marathon, everyone's running at once, but there comes a time like mile 20 or something, like kilometer 20, where it's just you.
Yeah.
And that's a different feeling for sure.
Yeah.
Right? In a way you do feel alone. Yeah. And not only are you alone, you're alone with your thoughts.
That's it. You're alone with your thoughts, and that's the scariest part.
That's
sometimes.
the scariest. And so to be honest, it was very emotional. I was like crying all the way up the Jubilee Bridge because I was like
For real though.
just like thinking about like people I've lost, the moments that I've lived in my life of like who was there, who wasn't there.
Yeah.
And like, who could have been there
Do it all
as
the
well.
time.
Right? So that was definitely like a moment for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing was I was alone. And it's not like, because I know I'm running.
Yeah.
And legs are cramping, body's giving out, but you're running. And like one foot in front of the other, it was like somewhat like, it was some sort of like.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah, like that was kind of the thing. I was just like, okay, I just got to take a couple more steps. I got to take a couple thousand more steps, but I'll eventually get there.
And I don't know about you guys, but especially with running, the gym's a little different because running is like its own kind of beast. But when I'm like, we have those thoughts in our heads, and I'm 1 minute into a run, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? For real, every time. And then and then you get to this point, you get over this little hump, and then you're on cruise control. And it's like, but these thoughts just keep running in your head, and you start to play victim with yourself. Oh, my shins hurt, my knees hurt, oh, you're focusing on your breath, you're focusing on this, and then I try to translate all these things into life. And actually, when I'm doing these things in life, I think about, when I'm in the gym, or think about when I'm running. And, okay, one step first, don't focus on, being perfect. One step over the next. And then, when there's those voices of doubt or whatever it is, or something's hurting, stop playing victim. Stop playing victim. Just get through this, figure it out, find a solution.
I will say, and this may be like I don't know what it is, it will lead to a conversation, but as much as I was crying up the Jubilee Bridge, as soon as I saw the camera person, I was like, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right? Because I didn't want to show it.
But how good did it feel?
It felt great. But for some reason, I didn't want to show my emotions to anyone.
Yeah.
And do you feel that way? Like, do you bottle your emotions up and just like leave it, or are you open about it? And are you?
I try to be open, and as I get older, I feel like for the most part I can care less. I cry often. There's a lot of things I cry about, and it's because I don't hide it from myself anymore. Sure. I think a lot of time I was hiding from myself, but being like, emotions are a part of life, man. Crying is a part of life. Embrace it. Same with laughing. Same with just whatever you're feeling, embrace it, but don't let those feelings control you.
Okay.
That's a hard thing. You can be sad, but if you're going to be sad and let those feelings let you eat a whole tub of ice cream, it's not going to end up good. If you embrace the sad, but use it as energy to do something else. Same with anger, right? I used to have bad anger problems as a kid. Now I use it in other ways that benefit me instead of make things worse and make me feel worse.
That's the best thing about running, right? It's like, as much as like you're running, but body's taxing. Like, this happened to me like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I don't know, it was a small family argument, and it's like, you're pissed off. It's just like, yo, why did they say that? Or they use your like insecurities against you or something, right? It's like, okay, well, or you could either ruin your whole family's relationship, or you go for a run, use that fuel, and like cried out, bro. I was like, I stopped for a second, dropped a tear, and I was like, okay, back to this. Let's go.
That's it, though. And you use it as good fuel.
Exactly.
Instead of letting yourself feel worse, you went for a run, you came back, you're probably like,
Yeah, and it was like, okay, maybe you know what? I understand their perspective now. I see why.
Man, you know, and even if you don't understand it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta keep doing you and being your best.
And I think it's like a part of society too, where it's like everyone has this perspective of like men's mental health. It's like, yo, like I think a lot of us would agree that we just bottle up our emotions and try not to show it.
For sure.
And
we have this pride.
Exactly.
You know, we're men.
Yeah, and like, yo, like it's hearing you say you cry often is like, yo.
I do.
Like, so as someone who's like, kind of like the idealistic man of what, like, you know, men are supposed to be strong. You're freaking huge, bro. You know? And so like hearing that is just like, wow, man. It's like showing your emotions is actually the true strength of what it means to be a man, you know?
It's true. And, you know, just because you cry or feel certain things, doesn't make you less of a man.
Right.
If you feel like crying, you're going to cry. Let it out. But like, as men, especially growing up, I feel like we see these things and we hear these things and we gotta, you know, tough it up and do things to toughen yourself up. But like, if you're gonna cry, you're gonna cry. You know,
exactly.
Embrace it. I think. I don't know.
So let's talk about the business side of fitness now, right? Like, I think we grew up in a hard place, and like equally, you know, everyone has their hard, and so.
There we go.
This is where you started, right? You started your own thing. You know what you wanted to do. You transitioned that from roofing into your fitness journey. How did that start? Like,
started as a clothing brand originally, and then I realized this is not the game for me. And anybody I have some friends that do clothing, good for you guys, because clothing is freaking hard.
Yep.
So that's what it started off as. Started off as clothing, and I'm not gonna lie, we had some pretty cool stuff, but it's just like, so hard, man. And we didn't have a lot of money at the time, and one of the guys I was working with spent all the money on a whole bunch of sets of the wrong clothes.
Yeah.
And it kind of messed us over. We departed from there, contacted them years later. Here's a story, and I'm just gonna be raw. FitMotive actually started, I was on house arrest because I got into a fight. Now, it's not because I did some crazy crime. No, I got into a fight. I fought somebody. They ended up charging me for it, and I got what maybe I deserved, right? But it was simple as a fight. Got house arrest for it. While I was on house arrest, I was working still. I was going to the gym still. I was trying to focus on things. If I didn't do that, then I wouldn't have FitMotive, because that's when I thought of FitMotive.
Yeah.
And I was thinking so long and so many days. I was drawing out sketches of names and logos and things and stuff like that. And I thought of FitMotive because, you know, what is your motive? And fitness changed my life. So that's really my motive, right? But anyway, so it started as a clothing brand then, scrapped that. Then, like I mentioned, somebody got me to work with them, under them as a coach, and I just did not like the way they worked. Too busy for anybody, no help, no whatever. I remember they were giving us leads that when we'd contact those leads they wanted to start up, they listen, they already contacted us, we don't want to do this. It's like, holy man, what's going on here? So his customer service or support was just not who I was and what I wanted to be. So like I said, I started doing it for myself, got fired from that one job I had, and I worked all my life. So that was the first job I ever got fired from. And then started doing that, didn't have enough money to pay the bills. So I started doing snow removal on the side. And this all started too because everybody would ask me questions, and I was like, let's turn this into something. Okay, let's turn this into something. And over time, I was really helping people, but not because I was giving them a plan. You can find a plan on the damn internet. I tell everybody the most valuable piece in any coaching, business coaching, I think, life coaching, whatever, and health and wellness coaching, is the guidance and support. I think the adversity I went through, I'm able to relate to a lot of people's situations. Yeah. And even if you don't want to hear it, I'm going to tell you because you need to hear it. Yeah. And if you still don't want to hear it, that's fine. But I think the biggest and most valuable piece to any coaching is the guidance, the support, the communication. And I think that's what helped us do so well. Is I hold that to a high standard, very high standard. Communication support has to be on point, and you got to relate to you got to be there for your client, because it's more than just a physical transformation, you know? And people are going through a lot more. They're not, they probably know what to eat. Some people don't, but most people know what to eat. Most people know that you got to go work out. You got to be on top of them. You got to help them through their struggles. You got to be, and I think that's what makes a really good coach is doing that. So I think that kind of pieced it together, and that's what helped me grow.
There's one thing to like go work out. There's another thing to start a business about, right? So like people work out. There's giant guys at the gym I go to every morning. There's like very fit people at the gym, but the transition from that to like, this is what I enjoy and I want to continue doing this. I want to do it for other people. What was that transition?
And that kind of brings me back to like when people say, this is your job, it's easy for you, right? It's not. And it's not like, I don't go work out, 10 hours a day. And like I said, I don't want to go work out even half the time I work out, I don't want to be there, but I get it done. And at the time, at a moment, I think fitness was my passion. Now I believe that coaching was my passion probably at once too, but now I believe it's just my purpose, like helping people. And every morning I wake up and I pray that I can help somebody, and every single morning, every single night, that I can inspire somebody, help change somebody's lives. And I think that's what life's about, is inspiring others to become better and change their lives for the better. But I think now it's just my purpose, helping people, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Some way, some form, maybe stride outside of other ways than just coaching, but I think helping people is definitely my purpose.
And the business was a way for you to do that, correct?
Business, I was always fascinated with business, and it started off as, when I was a kid, seeing rappers do things outside of rap, actually, and the Rolls Royce, and I was fascinated. I never thought I'd be able to have
Where's
anything.
my phone, bro? Look at this.
Yeah, that was my favorite car as a kid. As a kid growing up, that was my favorite car, because I seen the rappers have it. I seen them have these things. And another thing I say is I use my purpose to fuel my passion, and my passion, I think Quinn has similar passion too, is traveling. And it's because we never thought, or at least for me, I never thought I'd be able to get out of where I was. Our traveling as a kid was hop in the car, cram in the car, and drive to Thunder Bay to go visit our grandparents. That was all we did, and barely could afford that. But business is something I've always been fascinated with, and I feel like there's always it's a game. It's a game, and there's so many different pieces to the puzzle, and ultimately, if you enjoy what you're doing, I think you'll do well with it.
Do you think all the hardship that you went through, like from homeless to getting kicked out, and like drug uses to whatever, all the hardships that you went through in life, it's what prepared you to be where you are today?
1,000%, 1,000%. And up until probably a couple of years ago, I would never speak of any of that.
Yeah.
There was a day I went on my Facebook and deleted, I wish I kept all them, of the people I hung out with, just to compare who I was hanging out with, what I was doing to now. I went on my Facebook, deleted everything because I was embarrassed and ashamed. I want nobody who knows me now to know who I was then.
Yeah.
There's a few friends that know me now that know about my past. Most people that know me would have zero idea. Most people are probably like, oh, look at this guy, rich guy. He came up, he came up from not rich guy, but he came up from a rich family or something like that.
I mean, we never knew about it, until, just...
You brought it up.
That's the thing. Nobody knows your story. That's what, and I'm not saying I was a rich guy, by the way. I meant to forget raised by rich family or something like that. But that's the thing, and it's weird because, I used to judge people, and judging is just so, you don't know the background to somebody's story. You have zero idea.
Yep.
Even if they look happy, even if they're being a prick to you, sometimes I need to step back and be like, okay, this guy's he probably has a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I think 1,000% those hardships prepared me. I think they can prepare anybody as long as you're willing to do something about it and change. Right?
So what does it feel like now? You've gone through all this hardship. now you're getting to travel across the world. You've been to some fantastic places, you know, and you're living the life that you've hopefully always dreamed of, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry about having a place to sleep anymore or having food on the table for you. It's like you built this.
Yeah.
You built this by your bare hands, working your ass off to get to it. What does that feel like to finally accomplish?
It's hard to say because I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm grateful for where I am.
Right.
You know, every morning I wake up and, you know, it's because a lot of times I'm like, oh, you know, I wish I had more and, you know, I still I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I need to remind myself of where I started, what I've overcome, and what I have now. And it's what I dreamed of once. You know, I never thought I'd be nowhere near where I am now.
Yeah.
And same with traveling. Like, I think it's my passion because to go to these places in the world, like, and to see how other people live and to experience different cultures and just see different things. I think it's just great experience and great learning and great memories.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, doing it with people you love to be with.
The consistency and randomness of your travels
Oh man,
amaze me every time.
Everybody says that.
I'll see you like on a Monday on your story of like work it out, and then Tuesday you're in Egypt.
Yeah, you know what? I was like,
How on earth? I thought it takes like 24 hours to get to Egypt, let alone you guys are
so
in
funny.
Egypt.
Those are the trips that we aim for, though. Like out of this world, you know,
Yeah.
it's something we're not used to. Because for me, like I remember my first actual trip was Mexico, and it was so fun. But like, it was way back, and it was just, you know, you go and party, and then now I'm going on trips to really like change the scenery and learn things and be like, whoa, this is cool.
It's nuts.
Egypt was wild, by the way.
I never see like the transition though. Like I just see you working out. I don't see like you getting on the plane.
I
just
never
see,
really I never really do it. Like sometimes I'll even like, you know, wait till I'm in the gym at the other place and be like, you know, working out.
Drop the location.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good marketing trick
I
too.
know how on earth did these guys get like? It amazes me, and I love it.
It's
I
fun,
actually
man.
I love seeing it.
I love doing it.
I love the memes of like the unemployed friend on Tuesday.
Yeah. I love it, man. I think traveling, if you can, and if it's something doable for you, I think everybody should do it. Because you see things that, like, one of the goals I had, I don't want to die without seeing how the rest of the world lives. I just can't see. I need to see how the rest of the world lives. There's so much out there.
What's the most memorable place you've been?
What's the story? Do you have a
Yeah,
story?
do you have, like-
we asked him for a story, but we want a story.
There's so many. There's some.
You recently went to Dubai, right?
Dubai was when was that? 2020? No, 2019.
2019. Yeah.
Went to Dubai and Jordan. That was a good one. Dubai was like, I loved it. And it wasn't like out of this world for me because it's just things you're used to, you know?
Yeah.
There's just, but Jordan, we went on the same trip. We slept in the, which one? The Wadi Rum Desert.
Oh yeah.
That was a cool experience.
What's one that was like out of this world? You're like, damn, this is like a different planet or like a different world that I'm living on.
What are the recent ones?
The world is also huge. Like,
That's a good question because they're all like, trying to think, like Morocco, certain areas we were in were like, wow, that was, I don't know how some people, you know, it's crazy to see how some people live. I think my favorite experience is the one we just went on, the safari. It was just so cool to see animals where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And like seeing them running around doing, you know, what they're supposed to be rather than locked up. Ever since going there, it's like I can't go like see a zoo and see how animals are just chilling, you know.
how's the planning process for that? Like, do you just like go like
I just
tomorrow?
You know what? Quinn's good at planning a lot of stuff. Sometimes I'll do some planning, but a lot of the times, man, we just wing it, you know, and we find out what's cool to do there, and we do those things, and then other than that, we try and hang around with the locals and
What's the story from the safari?
story.
Yeah, what's the story from the safari? Like either seeing an animal or seeing the locals there. Like, what was your first night, second night, third night, however long you guys were there?
Good question. I could tell you a story from last September that I don't know if it's appropriate for this, but
We'll cut it.
well, we were in. I won't say names because they're gonna hate me for it. But we went on this boat, this little boat cruise, and we had some drinks, and Mark ended up staying out. I think our friend went to bed, then I went to bed, and then Quinn probably went to bed after me, and then our friend stayed up with everybody, and he was partying. He was like standing on speakers, doing his thing. Anyways, wake up. I think it was like 7 a.m. We wake up for breakfast, and I'm the first one to go upstairs, and I see our friend like this on the couch, just snoozing. And he's like, "Man, did you look at your phone?" I was like, "There's no service." Why? He's like, "Oh, just wait." And I was like, "What?" He's like, I won't say the name, but he pissed on me. and I was like, "What?" He's like, "I woke up and I heard the water running in the bathroom, and then I go back to bed. Then I feel something warm on my leg, and he's pissing on me." So he got up, and I was like, "You know what? It sucked in the moment, but it's a story to tell. You know, just I wouldn't want to get pissed off, but
Not on your bucket list?
not on my bucket list. No, that's for sure. But there's so many stories, and it's hard to think of on the spot. But like even like the safari, just seeing the animals and being able to see cubs and just cruising through South. What's it called? Cape Town, South Africa. Is favorite spot I think in the world. So surf town, great people, great environment. It's just a cool spot. If you go to South Africa, that's one place I highly suggest to go.
Yeah. Good to know. So you've done a lot of crazy stuff. I love learning about business, right? And like different business and getting into minds of entrepreneurs and how they did it. And so, you know, getting your first couple of clients, how did you scale your business? You know, how did you continue to grow to what FitMotive is now?
I think at the time I had no business plan. I had no idea what I was doing. At the time I was just like, "Hey, I want to get some clients here," and I slowly was working with them. I was getting results. I was digging into their minds and kind of understanding where they're at, not just, I want to lose weight, I want to be skinny, whatever it was. Well, what do you really want? Like, so got into that, got to know my clients, got to really change their lives. And I think doing that helped build word of mouth, and that really helped us grow. Obviously, later on, there's a lot more planning into it, a lot more logistics and stuff. But at the time, I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it.
Yeah.
I was having fun with it. And I think a lot of people say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And a lot of people will agree with that. I don't agree with that, because I think you always will have to work if you want to grow.
Right.
If you don't want to grow, then I don't think, you won't have to, you just do it and have fun with it, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of planning, a lot of risk taking, tons of risk taking, a lot of losses, failures. And it's just a part of, doing it, chasing the dream.
So for the people that don't know, what is FitMotive? Like, what is the core pitch or the core selling product of Fit?
So we help people feel good, see results, make transformations. Like we said, train right, eat right, live life, right? So we ultimately connect with our clients. First thing that goes down, we have an assessment, either it's online or in person. If it's in person, we'll do body measurements, check your body fat percentage, kind of discuss your goals, go from there. We'll do check-ins weekly. So we're always in communication with you guys. So for me, I always check in with my clients, unless they don't want to be. I'll always check in with my clients weekly as well, midweek as well. Make sure everything's going on point and they have no questions. They're not struggling too much if they need anything. Then we'll do those assessments every month. We'll check their measurements, stuff like that. And then as they progress, obviously, if they're progressing, we'll make those adjustments accordingly to help them see the results and keep it going. So we just also got into corporate wellness as well, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
So that we just started that. We're just getting into the sales side of things and connecting clients and starting calls in September. So super exciting, especially since our ultimate mission is to help change as many lives as possible. I want to change lives, man. I want people to understand what they're capable of. because there was a point, like I mentioned to you guys, I had no clue. I didn't think I was capable of shit.
Yeah.
So I want to change as many lives as possible, and want a good team to help me do it. And doing corporate wellness, I think we can really connect with a lot of teams to be able to do that.
That was one thing I was going to bring up, because I'm not too immersed in the world of the fitness agencies or like the gym world, just like from the business side. But when I saw the idea of not only one-on-one with a client, but a team, like a full team, I don't know if it's done before or what it is, but it just seems very unique.
There's different corporate wellness programs out there, but one thing I want to stress too is still maintaining some kind of support through a whole team, which is obviously a lot more difficult. You're not working with a person one-on-one. There's a heck of a lot more team members in a business.
Yeah.
So we want to still make sure to maintain structure, provide these businesses with challenges as well as kind of a learning process. So we're going to do workshops and classes. And then there's going to be support as well. So to make sure that they're being heard and that they feel like they have a little bit more of a personalized experience. It's not going to be like, every single day you're going to hear from us, but like there's going to be constant support.
Do you see the same level of emotion with the business as well? In terms of there's moments where it's awesome and there's moments when it sucks.
All the time. There's been times where I've just been like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it goes away quicker than, obviously I do want to do it, right? Because I love this, but and I think it goes for anything. There's so many moments where I'm just like, what am I doing, man? This shit is hard, and you just can't quit. And I got to remind myself, you just can't quit. You got to keep trying. You're going to fail. There's going to be rough moments, but those moments are what help you build and grow and become better. And you just got to find a way and change it up. That's the thing. If you're failing and you're not learning from those failures, then there's a problem. If you're learning from those failures, you're actually trying new things. Even if those new things don't work, that's okay. But as long as you're trying new things and knowing that you're going in the right direction and there's some kind of growth, then I'm happy with it.
What keeps you motivated when, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up, go to the gym before your clients go to the gym, and it's minus 40 degrees outside, your bed's cozy, and, you just want to stay in bed all day?
I'm not motivated in the morning. And I love mornings once I'm up, but I'm not motivated in the morning. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But I get up and I put my feet on the floor. First thing I do every morning is go get a couple glasses of water.
Yeah.
Drink that water and get moving. And like right now, one thing I'm doing is I don't touch my phone for a couple hours. I don't look at it. I have the ringer for calls on. That's it, in case there's an important call. But I get outside, take my dog for a long walk, and then get inside, do my thing, take a cold shower, which I love. There's so much controversy around it, but I've been doing it for years, every single day. I can't remember the last day I missed a day. Cold plunges are great too. But I do a little morning routine, man, without my phone, just living my life in the moment. So I'm not waking up feeling rushed and just like, getting on with the day. I want to live my life a little bit in the morning before I start the day and enjoy it. And but I'm not motivated to wake up in the morning, to answer your question. I don't know if you are. Like, what motivates you? I know I need to. That's the thing.
Right.
I know I need to get up and get the day going. If I don't get up right now, I'm going to be a lazy sack of and not want to, I feel like crap later. So I might as well get up and feel good later and know that I got up and, I'm sticking to the process.
And I think that is like ultimately the answer. I don't think like you could have a huge why to whatever you do. Like you got to prepare for a marathon, let's say, or something like that. But ultimately, there's stuff that's got to get done. And so if you don't do it, you're only going to get behind. And whether that's your fitness journey, your personal growth, like you could sit there or you could just get up. And I think it's literally just the fact of just getting up and doing it.
That's it.
That like once you get up, you probably want to go back to bed, but like ideally, like you'll probably get up and do something that'll like get you moving. And as long as you do that, you're doing something.
100%. And if you got nothing to do, have a game plan, build a routine. If you're getting up and then you're like, what do I do now? have a game plan. If you got no job, go job seeking,
Yeah.
or you know, or plan have some kind of business plan, or you know, have a hobby. Make sure that you're waking up and have some kind of purpose. Go to the gym, whatever. So you're not just waking up, okay, back to bed.
Yeah.
I've come to the realization that motivation isn't anything. Like,
I hate that word.
Yeah.
I'll use it sometimes,
Yeah.
but I hate that word because it's not. It doesn't last.
yeah.
So what's your replacement word for motivation?
You know it. It's discipline.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
And that's all
course.
it is, because everyone's like, I'm not motivated to go. I'm not motivated. Screw your motivation.
Yeah.
Get up and get going, because the more you do that, the more you're going to build on that habit. You know, all these even the smallest little things. I tell everybody, stress the small details because they matter. And discipline will beat motivation any day of the week.
Took a while to get there, but I did realize that.
Yeah.
But there was a moment I was just like, "Oh, put on a motivational like video. Let me watch this. This is enough."
But seriously, sometimes, you know what, Eric Thompson, I think, was
Yes.
part of the reason
Yep,
that helped me
yep.
change my life, because
Yep.
he related to me so much. He's like, you know, especially when he was
voice.
like, he was homeless.
Yep.
You know, and for a heck of, I was not homeless long,
Yeah.
and thank God I wasn't. And he'd gone through a lot of stuff. You know, he was kicked out, and he had in my eyes, worse than me. But the point is, like, we all go through shit.
Do you want
We all have hard things.
You
in
want
life.
to breathe?
That's the line.
That's the line.
As for me, it just sounds so almost cheesy for others. For me, it's not cheesy, but that changed it. And I remember I would work out, I would do cardio, and at the time I was fat, I was out of shape, I had bad habits. And that line would always come into my head, you know, you got to want it as bad as you want to breathe.
I'm not checking my phone. I want to show you something.
Yeah.
When I was running the marathon, the one thing that I found and that just played on repeat for the whole marathon was this video of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you post this, I think, too.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I listened to this when we trained.
So the funny thing is, we would train together every Saturday morning for up until like what?
We did like 6 times.
Yeah, 6 times or something leading up to the marathon.
Yeah,
we would go up like 8 o'clock. He would start earlier because I'm only doing the half, so he's got to run double the distance I'm running. So he would complete his first lap. We would start at like Bishop Granite, go all the way to Pembina, come back, and then man, we'll get tired. And then he'll look over to me. He sees me dying. I'll look over to him.
I go hard work. Dedication.
And people are looking at us. They're like, "What are you guys doing?"
But that's the thing. Who cares?
That's all I needed. Like, that small piece of motivation was literally all I needed. And then the same thing at the marathon. Like,
Because it helps you.
Yeah.
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 Even the smallest words or quotes or whatever you just think of, and like how it can relate to you and what you're after.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you, when you guys were talking with Quinn, you said something, you were talking about the grind.
Yeah.
And what's your
So
take on that?
my thing was, it has changed now because Quinn's episode was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
But my thing has always been, I'm willing to grind it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna suck. That's okay. It's gonna be horrible. We may, lose a couple friends in the process, but I'm willing to grind it out. That was for a very long time. That was my thing. I was like, we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go, and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna put head down every Saturday morning. We're gonna record everything. We're gonna edit. We're gonna do this. We're gonna build a business. We're gonna go. And so that was kind of my idea of like the grind don't stop.
Yeah.
And it's okay, right? It's gonna suck. It's gonna be horrible. I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna break a couple relationships in the process, maybe, right? Who knows?
And it's not always going to suck,
not,
you know?
Yeah.
But to prepare and accept that, there's going to be a lot of moments that there will be.
The moments are gonna suck.
Yeah.
But the equally and opposite, they're gonna be the best moments of our life.
That's it, man. I think it's all about, it depends on what stage you're in. Sometimes I think, and especially for me at the time, you need to grind. You got to put it over everything, you know? And if you're, doing super well, you're happy with exactly where you are, and you can still continue to grow while, letting off the gas a little bit and traveling and enjoy life a little bit more, do it. But if you're not where you want to be, grind.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of the motivation at that time. Like, obviously, a lot has changed in a year since we did the thing. So, the perspective has definitely changed. But it's great that, one, that's on camera for me to see. And, go back and that's the kind of person I was at one point. And so, the growth, especially the transformation,
For real.
to bring it full circle. Of course, yeah.
Thing too, going back on that, like really everybody just sees the transformation as what you gain physically, and even people who work with us, it's just they want just that physical transformation, and that's fine, if that's what you want. A lot of times I want that for myself too, actually every summer, but you get so much more out of it, especially if you're in a really crappy spot for yourself.
And I think like the best thing, and Blake Jake said this on our episode, it was like, imagine yourself, like if you're running, and he was a runner, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, imagine you're running against your future self. And so when you're running, that future self starts passing you.
Yeah.
Right? And you envision this, and I do it all the time when I'm
love
running.
that, yeah.
And it's like, I can see my future self, the one that's like, in the best health of his life, or in the best mental state, and like has all these things, and he's running. And he kind of like gives that little turn, and he's like,
seriously though.
and then, bro, I get so, and I'm like, God.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that's what it is. As much as like I think there's a time and an age where you do have to put your head down and like grind it out.
Absolutely.
But like, also do it in a strategic way. Don't just like grind it in like, I'm just gonna throw stuff out there. Like, no, be strategic about it. Do something that you're passionate about, and like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like people are different. That's another thing I've realized as well, right? Like if that's not what you want to do, that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't. Like
that's a thing.
Like so.
That's a thing. Like, and everybody's at different stages of their lives, and everybody's wants different things, and it's just about what's working for you and what you see ultimate growth towards the things that you're after, and like.
Yeah, you probably see that more with like the clients as well. Like not like what are some of the goals that the clients have, and like how do you change that towards like to meet their goals?
Well, it totally depends on the person, right? But
are there people who want to be like, okay, I want to like be the biggest, or are there people who just want to maintain?
Of course. Like, so a big thing too is like, people want to achieve certain physiques, but they also want to eat out and drink all the time, and it's not going to happen. And so you got to decide what you want more. And the word balance is being tossed around so much, and I hate the word balance. And it's fine, because like it's totally fine if you want to be average.
Yeah.
But if you want to be great at something, or if you want to achieve something that's way out of your zone right now, you have to do a hell of a lot more of the things necessary to achieve that goal, and a hell of a lot less of the things distracting you or holding you back from it, period. So balance is out the window when it comes to that. You have to, and if you want to be great at something, you just got to work harder than yourself.
I want to do a little experiment, and it's like, I'm going to put this on myself, and I'm going to give you like what I want to look like and what I want to achieve with my health. Maybe I'm like kind of ripping you off with this.
I see what you're doing.
I'm just trying to build my own personal brand, right? Personal plan. But okay, so let's say like me, I play soccer, I run a lot, and so it's like it's hard for me to kind of like I don't want to look too I don't want to be your size.
Yeah.
Like I want to be, but like have like an athletic build.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like, you could tell that guy is like somewhat.
Do you want to build more muscle?
Yeah.
But just be a little more
lean.
Yeah, stay around the same weight maybe?
Yeah, exactly. So like currently I'm sitting at like 170, I think. I haven't weighed myself in a long time. The last time I did, I was like 170. And so I wouldn't mind maintaining this weight right now. Maybe 180, go up there.
Yeah.
But still be able to be very flexible and like fast twitch muscles and like be fast, but like still like look athletic. So how would
100%.
How would you do that?
So we'd have to go over kind of a little bit more. And like I say to everybody, the first couple months, especially working with somebody, is always the most experimental. We see how their body adjusts to the food and the training. But training wise, I would definitely, if you want to, at least momentarily, if you want to build a little bit more muscle, get a little bit more defined, a little bit more definition, probably 4 days split weight training, get you a couple days athletic or conditioning, plyometrics, something like that, just to maintain that. And then get your cardio up as well. But ultimately, where it comes into factor is the nutrition. So we'd want to make sure you're eating the right amount of calories, and obviously the right amount of protein, carbs, fats, macros, So it depends, but split-wise, that's what I would probably do to start with training and see how your body adjusts and make those adjustments accordingly. Now you're going to rip me off and go try.
No, I didn't give you enough.
I didn't give you enough info.
Right.
You got a new client.
You guys work one-on-one, or is it more?
No, that's what
the main
we've
spot?
always been focused on one-on-one
Okay.
coaching. So,
But no physical locations yet.
no, I don't know if
Do you
I
want it?
plan on it. I don't know. You know what? It's been tossed around so much, and I don't know if I really would love a spot. I'd really love to have a gym at, and I was almost going to do it, and then decide I don't want it. I've been speaking with a friend who really wants to start one up too. So it may happen. It just depends on how we can be different, because there's so many gyms getting popped up now, and great gyms too. And it's like how we could be different, which there's plenty of ideas. Location is a big one. And if I really want to jump into that scene, because that would take a lot of focus and effort, and kind of probably take away from a lot of things as well. And I just got to decide if it's worth it and in line with where I'm going.
What are some goals for business-wise?
Well, corporate wellness, I really want to, like I said, I really want to change a lot of lives. So I think corporate wellness and getting that off the ground and really running with it, that's going to be a major one for us. And I just love it. I have there's a few. It's funny, I was just talking to somebody about setting up a business on the Okanagan Lake in Kelowna, as I was just there too. There's businesses I don't want to talk about right now, because like they're there, but I don't want to.
Because you want to post the gym selfie and then the Egypt selfie. Yes.
But not only that, I don't like talking about things
You like
without. I like it being there.
Doing it.
Exactly.
It being there and being ready and 100%
Exactly.
before even talking about it. I've never been somebody who talks about things before it happens. It's just like, I show up to the Egypt and I'm in the gym,
There's no packing vlog. There's no walking on the vlog.
Well, the thing is, like, we're the same way. It's like, for example, we could say that, we're gonna get Shane on, right? The podcast, go crazy market, run the marketing up, right?
Yeah.
And then
It's just better to be
it
like,
doesn't
he's
happen.
here.
That's the thing, though.
Like, it doesn't happen.
And, which is okay if it doesn't happen, but the thing is, like, what's happening here? Like, there's no podcast.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing, and it's like there's a lot of things I have plans for and talk about and get deep with, and it may not happen.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep doing it, and then having the plans and talking about them, seeing if it's worth it or not. If it's not worth it, see you later. You spent a little bit of time planning it and working on it, but that's it.
You're a very motivational guy, inspirational. I'll use that
There's
word.
that.
I'll use that word.
I love it.
I told you that the first time I met you too. That I was like,
Yeah.
I heard of you through Quinn and
Yeah.
seen your stories every morning.
I remember that.
It's solid. If there's one thing that you would want us to ask you, and what would something that you would want to share with the world, or something that if you left today and you're like, oh, I wish those boys would have asked me about that.
That's a good question, because I literally told myself either prepare for it or just come in and hear what they got to say. And it's a good question, because I hope that my main goal in life is to inspire. And I said that to you guys, and I wake up and I go to bed every night, and one of the things I pray for is just to inspire people and help change any lives. So I hope that any of these pieces that we talked about can do that for somebody and help anybody understand, no matter where the hell they are in life, as long as they're willing to push through it to get through it, then that's it. You have to push it. You got to jump in to swim. Seriously.
That's some poetry, man. That's like any advice you can leave the audience with. You just dropped some amazing quotes, but any advice, anything that you can tell the people that are either going through some hardship or trying to make that transformation happen, how to stay disciplined and how to keep growing.
Well, you're the only person that you can control, and if you want to be disciplined, you have to choose to. Period. You have to take action. You have to take the steps to doing it. You have to do the necessary things. You got to make the sacrifices. You got to be consistent. It's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But if you decide you want it more than where you're at right now, do it and get after it and work hard at it, because we're not getting any younger, for real. But I think everything we talked about today, I hope that people can gather a lot of inspiration and do something with where they're at now, because no matter where we're at, there's always hope if you have it and you have the willingness to get through it, period.
All right.
Time to go work
On that note, I think this is the perfect way to end off the podcast. Thank you so much, Shane,
Thanks,
for
boys.
coming on. If you haven't already, make sure to check out Shane. We'll tag everything in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Ciao.
Let's go.
Thanks, boys.